Crash Team Rumble is going to be a very unique entry into the franchise. In fact, in general, the game looks like it's going to be quite the unique experience. However, though this might be more of a unique game in nature, this is not quite the first time that Crash has been in a multiplayer-focused game. Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, the other modern CTR, definitely pushed for a lot more online play. So let's take a look at how CTR Nitro-Fueled handled their online functionality, and let's see what could be copied, adjusted, or outright changed. Let's talk about it. What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and back with a brand new Crash Team Rumble video. Today's focus, while it's on the new upcoming multiplayer Crash game, is actually going to be looking a lot at Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Again, what did it do right? What did it do wrong? And how can those features be translated to Crash Team Rumble? So, let's get started. Number 1. Let's just get this one out of the way, please. Dedicated servers. If I was told that Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled server was located on one of those old dusty Dell computers that you saw at the back of your local library where the screensaver is literally burned into its chunky CRT monitor that weighed over 200 pounds, I actually wouldn't be shocked. I'll be completely honest here. I talked about this game, Crash Team Rumble, for over 2 years, and I am so excited for it. But if the servers operate anywhere close to CTR Nitro-Fueled's, this game's lifespan is going to be real short, like my patience when waiting for races online today. Oh no. No. The servers for Crash Team Racing, if you've never experienced it firsthand, felt like playing on dial-up internet with telemarketers calling you every 2 minutes. It wasn't fun. If you were lucky, you would get a lobby that didn't suck eggs, and you would race with the same people for as long as you could, because it would be the most stable time to play the game. Then one person would disconnect, and suddenly the server would just explode. The biggest reason was because CTR used peer-to-peer networking. To keep it real short and simple, one person is the host. Everyone else connects to that said host. Everyone's info gets sent to the host, and then the host redistributes everyone's information back to everyone else. Can you see how this can become a problem? See, if there was any issues with anyone's internet during that time, it would cause lag and issues. Now, if the host had internet issues, then the entire lobby became a complete and total clown show. A lot of games nowadays actually have what's called dedicated servers. Basically, instead of some random host being picked, there's a dedicated server, one dedicated place that everyone connects to. If one person starts having connectivity issues, it's usually isolated to that person specifically and doesn't impact the rest of the group. Crash Team Rumble, if its entire focus is multiplayer, needs to have those dedicated servers. Crash Bandicoot 4 is a sharp, tight platformer, and if the game is a stuttering mess because server and host issues, no one's going to want to platform or play on it. Number 2, multiple game modes. This is actually something that Nitro-Fueled did very, very well. Just not quite in the multiplayer aspect. Nitro-Fueled had a single player mode, time trials, cups, relic races, ring rally, and more. When you wanted to do something more than just basic races, there were other ways to enjoy the game. Doing the time trials was an absolute blast for me personally, as well as for the community, as more and more people would post their best methods and times online. Unfortunately, these game modes were only available for offline play or couch co-op. For online play, you had regular racing and battle mode. And, have you tried to get into a lobby nowadays in battle mode on CTR Nitro-Fueled? It's like a symphony of crickets. Now, when it comes to Crash Team Rumble, the main game mode sounds like it's going to be a 4v4 team mode where you collect Wumpa Fruit and bank it for your team, while trying to stop the other team from doing the same. Here's the thing though, if that is the only game mode that's available, people might get pretty tired of it over the course of a long period of time. Not only that, but game modes need to feel like there is a good amount of development invested into it and don't feel like they're just these marketing ploys that they just plaster in so that they can say that they have so many different game modes. Perhaps a free-for-all mode is on the table, or maybe an 8-player cooperative play. Heck, maybe even a battle royale elimination style mode. Either or, a variety of even a few game modes that has a good amount of time invested into it will go a long way. Number 3, balance. This is something that Beenox didn't do a lot of, but they didn't really have a choice in the matter. You could definitely say their hands were tied here. Whenever you go online, there was one dominant engine type, and it was speed. At the start of online play, 95% of all players use acceleration or speed, and then eventually just turn to mostly speed. Turning and all-round were, kinda, so you say, left in the dust. Almost no one would use those engines if they had any grasp of basic mechanics of the game. So, naturally, you might ask, why didn't Beenox adjust those engines? Why didn't they buff the stats? Well, Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled was still, in a sense, a remaster. If they start fiddling with the core game, like the stat values to make the other engines more viable, then you start to take away from that foundation in core of it being a remaster, though there was so much built upon that. So, Beenox introduced a brand new driving style, and that was the drift engine. Not as fast as speed, but had a better turning stat. Many people, myself included, actually welcomed and loved this engine. However, it basically just replaced acceleration. Speed is still the #1 engine by a large margin, and as people learned more and more about the game and got better, the more that people just stuck with speed. Drift would only be used for tracks that had quite a bit of turning. Now, Crash Team Rumble, while likely going to be an absolute chaotic gong show when it comes to gameplay, needs to pay attention to the balance within that chaos. If a certain character or character and item combo gets way out of hand, information about it will spread on the internet and everyone will start using that specific combination and nothing else to gather as many wins as possible, making the game stale for everyone who doesn't want to follow that specific combo. I'm not saying Toys for Bob needs to make the game perfectly balanced. Far from it. Make it as chaotic as possible. But if there is a specific setup that everyone starts to use and it becomes literally the only viable way to get wins in the game, then things need to be shaken up quite a bit. Number 4, fan service. This was something that Beenox had in spades. To this day, Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is still the most fan service friendly game in the Crash Bandicoot universe. For those who don't know what I'm talking about exactly, fan service is essentially elements of a game that's added to appeal to avid and longtime fans of that specific game franchise. This can be Easter eggs, characters, or levels from specific games, and much, much more. For example, the Trophy Girls being repurposed into the Nitro Squad, or Nina's Nightmare having a nod to the Academy of Evil. What's also cool is that new fans that actually start to like these characters and notice these Easter eggs then can discover some of the old legacy content that's within the Crash Bandicoot universe. The game is so jam-packed full of fan service to the Crash Bandicoot franchise, and nearly every person loved it. I do hope that while we get new characters, levels, and things that are exclusively introduced in Crash Team Rumble, like Cat Bat, I hope we get to see callbacks or references to some of the more obscure characters in Crash's history, as it deserves to be celebrated. Speaking of, if you're a huge fan of Crash Bandicoot's history, or any other... Why did that... Hold on. My script autocorrect that to agnostic platformers. That's better. Speaking of, if you're a huge fan of Crash Bandicoot's history, or any other nostalgic platformers like Spyro or Jak and Daxter, consider subscribing as I tend to cover these games all the time. Anyway, back to the video. Number 5, engagement friendly. This is a bit of a weird one. That's why it's at the end of the video. So I'm going to take my time with this if you don't mind. What do I mean, first off, by engagement? Engagement is as simple as booting the game up and playing it. Now, there's a lot more aspects and metrics to it, like session time, game mode variety, etc. However, games nowadays, especially multiplayer ones, drive and push for more engagement. As more and more titles hit the market, the competition starts to ramp up, especially in the free-to-play market. So, to compete for your time in a free-to-play, no-risk-to-you environment, companies will dangle a carrot in front of players to incite them to log in and play every day. This can be daily login bonuses, first game of the day rewards, daily quests, etc. This theoretically makes the player want to log in more and play more as they get more rewards. This definitely is all fine and good. But whenever there's a carrot, there's typically also what's called a stick. What do I mean by a stick? Let me explain. If the carrot is what draws players in, the stick can be used to smack the player and keep them playing, or punish them for not. It's another engagement tool used on players who are now invested into a game, whether it be money or time-wise, and now potentially have a fear of missing out of the content that they just invested so much time and money into. An example of this can simply be limited events that can only last for a short period of time, but gives the players that did participate a reward. While this example also is actually a carrot to play the game, depending on how important that reward is, it can also be a stick, especially if you need that reward to progress in the game. When your game is set up this way, what tends to happen is that players begin to feel like the carrot is a chore if that carrot is way too important for the game. When a game feels like a chore, even its diehard fans begin to drop off and never come back. A personal example for me was World of Warcraft's Shadowlands expansion. It really felt like a giant chore list, and I stopped playing for a long time. Now, I don't think Crash Team Racing made their carrot a chore. In fact, I think they did pretty well overall. The game's carrot was something called Grand Prix. Every month, you would get a Nitro bar that you can fill that was filled with cosmetics. As you race and filled the bar, you unlocked the corresponding cosmetic. Now, when the Grand Prix were done, the cosmetics that were not unlocked would go away for a limited time, but could be unlocked at a later time in the pit stop shop using the in-game currency, which you earned from racing. However, the amount of time it took for the stuff to get back in the shop sometimes took a couple of months, and with the way the shop was set up, it would run like a cycle, and if you logged in and the item that you wanted wasn't there, you had to wait till the next day to be able to see what else was in the shop, or buy an item for a new item to come into the slot. Now, the idea itself of Grand Prix is actually amazing. I loved logging on each month and being able to unlock well over a dozen new cosmetics, while also collecting coins and buying the new content that was brought to the store for each Grand Prix. Nothing was really essential as it was all cosmetics, so there was really no advantage over other players. But I was a day one player. I played this game right from its start and played nearly every single day. So for me, unlocking the full bar was actually relatively easy. But what if someone started playing on the third or fourth Grand Prix? Or maybe they just didn't have the time that month to sit down and grind out the pass when their favorite character like Spyro the Dragon was available. I had heard a lot of complaints on how short it felt. And like I said, at the end of the Grand Prix, it would go to the pit stop shop, and sometimes it would take months before we saw those characters again. But again, for diehard fans, we were finished the pass in like the first week. So sometimes we would have to wait up to 3 weeks to get the new content. So Toys for Bob has a challenge for Crash Team Rumble. How to make a carrot that will keep the diehard fans playing consistently, a carrot to have casual people want to try the game, but a stick that doesn't strike too hard for those who are casual players or trail behind. If Crash Team Rumble was to go to the Grand Prix route, I think the ability to switch and catch up on older Nitro bars at a reduced rate would be a fun way for casual players to grab some of the missed cosmetics. There is so much we don't know yet about Crash Team Rumble, so make sure to stay tuned as I will be covering every aspect of this game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video and our live stream. Bye-bye!